Greetings! Today I wanted to discuss what I think is the most important thing when choosing or using earphones. Now there's a lot of things to consider when choosing or using earphones. First, what's your application? That should be pretty obvious. The most common set of next decision filters is typically more spec driven. Maybe it's budget, but maybe it's how many drivers you think you need, or what's the frequency response. But what I'm suggesting is that the most important thing to maximize the performance of your earphone is the fit. By the way, just to clarify, earphones, headphones. Earphones, headphones. Now this applies to all brands, all makes and models, all budgets. Earphones are designed to use your ear canal as a bass track. Once you get a proper seal, that's when all of the low frequency comes into play. If you've ever put crappy earphones in your ear and noticed they sound really thin and cheap, it's more a case of not having a proper seal than anything else. They are designed to have that seal to operate properly. Now obviously you can't play around with your earphones to get a proper fit and find the right sleeve that works for you until after you've purchased the earphones. So here's a bit of clarity around the offerings from Shure to help you make an informed decision.
Now this graphic in front of me is somewhat ancient, but it remains true, and it is kind of the central point of this entire video. This kind of gives you an overview, if you want to freeze frame it, on how to demo or use Shure earphones. You compress the sleeve, slide it into your ear, and allow it to expand inside your ear, and that's what gives you the seal. However, down here there's a few kind of reinforcements of my point, which is a poor fit, you'll have no bass. Make sure you use both of your earphones. Sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised. And then in the bottom right corner, you see something about isolation versus cancellation. More on that in a minute. Now, although the primary purpose of this video is to discuss the importance of a solid fit with earphones, really the first question to ask is, what's your application? But once you know, as I like to say, what you are plugging into, that will help filter down the type of earphone that you are looking for. Something very cool to note is that all Shure earphones feature MMCX connectors and are detachable. So what that means is at any point you can connect any one of these other cables to your existing earphone and you have a totally different experience. Back to the fit, all Shure earphones include what they call a fit kit, which is this little black pouch which comes with various sizes and shapes of sleeves. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. These feature different materials, different sizes and shapes, and I encourage you to spend time with all these trying to find the right one that works for you. For example, for me, it's always been the black foam sleeves in a medium. Also, another feature of Shure earphones specifically that helps with the fit is because they use these MMCX connectors, which are detachable, the earphone chassis itself actually swivels like a ball and socket, and the wire specifically right behind the earphone is bendable, very pliable, which allows you to tuck it behind your ear for an even better fit. Here's an image of the Shure lineup today. Little helpful tip, the middle number in all Shure earphones is the amount of drivers. The packaging you see here is more retail facing. You may see variations of the earphones that look like this that are more intended for the pro market. Now it's important to note that the earphones themselves in any of these offerings are essentially the same. The only differences are what comes in the box, what cables, and sometimes there are color variations, as you can see.
So before we wrap up, I wanted to address a couple misconceptions. First and foremost, more drivers does not necessarily mean better. This is one of those common questions and inquiries I get from end users is, well, how many drivers does that earphone have? Just realize that with each driver, there is typically a crossover point where one driver stops reproducing sound and another one picks up. And some earphones, those crossover points can be noticeable dips in the audio spectrum. So if you want the cleanest, flattest response, maybe it's a single driver. There's also the struggle of noise canceling versus sound isolation, meaning, again, with a proper seal, you have significant isolation from whatever is happening outside the earphones. To me, that is ideal. That's what you want. Noise canceling actually employs active circuitry that introduces sound, usually white noise or something like that, 180 degrees out of phase from what it hears in the environment, thus canceling it out. So the first question to ask, as I mentioned before, is really what's your application? What are you plugging into? Are you using them with your phone? Do you want them to be wireless because you're running on a treadmill or working out in the gym or mowing your grass? Are you flying on an airplane? Are you performing on a stage where stereo separation and clarity are more important than wireless freedom or battery life? Then once you have them, let's reinforce the point of this whole video. Make sure you spend time finding the right fit for your ear. Everybody's different. Don't just assume the sleeves that come standard on your earphone are the ones that were right for you. And you'll know when you find the right one. No amount of driver wizardry is going to compensate for a crappy fit. So that's it. Any questions? Just ask.
Make sure you connect with us on our website and through all our social media outlets. We will see you next time.